There's my pumice rock. I thought I had some pumice back then. I'm really excited to see what this one's going to give us. I love this twin trunk with the big old one is kind of like dying off and the young one's taking over. I do love this one a lot. So I really think I want to highlight this in its own little pot. I might even put this in my Sarah Rayner pot because of the darkness of that black pot I was showing you a couple episodes ago. That dark pot with these really, really golden leaves at fall time would just go against that black pot, I think, just brilliantly. Okay, so we got some interesting roots here. Now again, all the roots are higher up. I can cut off this lower section right down here. This lower section isn't doing a whole lot. And we'll have to see if I want to keep this root right down here. This one right there. But we know we're going to cut it off at least to that root. And I think I'll use the saw for that one. Make sure I'm not cutting any of the good roots. So another inch plus taken off. So we have this root right down there. But all these roots are up here. So that root might be just worthless as well. It's not on the same plane as all these other roots. And for this tree to stay alive, I need to get all these roots in the ground. And not rely on that bottom one. I'm going to wash this off a little bit. There. Yeah, so all these roots are coming from this. Look at these two just kind of fused together down here. I don't know if that was a branch at what time. When the bogs go down in the summertime and they're down here, and then in the spring they're really super soupy wet. This could have been a branch that started off in a dry season and grew up a little bit, and then it just kept growing. Yeah, I think we can cut more off of this tree. We have enough roots where I think I'm going to take that risk. And we're going to cut that off at that next junction. Another inch from this tree. So again, the roots are a little unorthodox because they're up here in this tall part, almost like aerial roots. That's because they grow in the bog, though. And so after this thing survives this working, we can cut more roots off and get more radial roots down below. I'm just going to cut this section of roots right here off. And we're going to leave everything else. And we're just going to put this in soil. Now, the question is, do we put this in our forest here? Put that in the forest or put it in a separate tree? Separate pot. So I stuck it in the forest. We can bury both those up. We could keep all those trees in there right there. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because of the twin trunk. But I do want to keep one of these trees for one of my special pots. I just love the look of that curve on that twin trunk to kind of highlight that tree. It'll get lost in the forest maybe. What to do, what to do. Yeah, I think this one's going to stay solo. This one's going to stay solo. So about 50% of the roots here are free at the bottom, but there's just one clump here still. And it just wants to cling on to this system. We need that in the water a little bit more. So I'm going to go get my other pot and we'll continue. I went inside to grab a couple of my pots. So I have my Sarah Rayner pot here. It's got this kind of dark, almost kind of a grayish little polka dots up top here and some drizzling. Almost has a green hue to it. It's got this black hue to it here. And I think with the really gold larch colors in the fall, this could be really magnificent. And I have a pot right there that could fit that tree real nicely. It's an oval pot. I think it speaks well to the ovalness of the tree, being we got left and right with the new growth on the right. I think that could be a fun pot. And I think it's just a perfect size right now to have that beautiful larch in there. So that's one option. And the other option is I just have this other pot that's just a round brown ceramic pot that has the patina on it. So this old tree with some lichen on it. It's a round pot. I don't like it as much in that. It's not bad, but I really do like the Sarah Rayner pot for this. So we're going to put my first, well, I have a couple other Sarah Rayner pots, but this is my newest pot that I acquired a year ago or so, and I think we're going to put it in this pot right here. So let's get this one potted up, and then we'll make the decision on the forest. So I need some drainage screens, so we'll find those and get to work on that. We're all set. We've got our drainage screens nicely wired, stapled in there. And I'm going to go a layer of my medium. And then I'm going to use my blend of a third, Akadama, pumice, and lava rock, and my smaller variety to get this tree in here. I'm going to pick the front of the pot. That's too uniform. I like the non-uniformity of that. So we're going to go ahead and use that. Now, this one doesn't have enough roots for me to tie this one in again either, so I'm just going to go ahead and use rocks to support this in the beginning. Lay these roots out nice. Get them feeling all cozy down here. So I don't have the perfect table set up right here. I have a real fun rock here that has a flat surface on both sides, so it sits in the soil really well. We're tucking in all these little roots that keep popping up. Got a couple that have wanted to pop up. We will definitely put sphagnum moss on here. Now, we have a little bit more of a mound than we would like, but because of the high roots on the tree, I want to make sure I mounded these, the soil around this pretty good, and we'll have to be very careful when we water it, that the water doesn't just swoop right off. And we'll also ground up some fresh sphagnum moss and get it on here as well to protect all those roots that were maybe hanging closer to the top, because we want this tree to survive. So let's get some water right now where it stands. And I'm really excited I was able to use my Sarah Rayner pot for a tree this year. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I was hopeful that one of these larches would do the trick. Now I hope, of course, with the roots that I cut back, that this tree will survive. I'll get some of that pre-fertilizer on here, that starter fertilizer we put on some of our other trees yesterday. I'll do that next after I get this watered and make sure that it's going to stay in place, see if I like the placement of the tree enough. We got some water seeping out the bottom now. Okay, so we'll water this again with some sphagnum moss and some rooting stuff on, but let's come back and take a peek at this. So right now it leans to the left. The big old tree is leaning to the left, but the one on the right has this swirl to the right, and then it goes up almost straight and then back to the right. I kind of like it the way it is right now. And with that rock on there, it actually looks like it was meant to be, and it grew on that rock. So I'm actually quite pleased. I think I'm just going to leave it there just so we don't disturb the soil makeup right now. That's fun stuff here. All right. So we're going to set this aside. We're going to get some sphagnum moss out here. We'll get that fertilizer, and we'll take care and finish this one in a little bit. I think we're going to go for it. The problem with this big tall tree in a solo pot is that it is big and tall, a little bit of curve to the right. It was chopped up there about 2/3 of the way up. But I like how big it is on that right side. We got that threesome on the left. I think we're just going to leave it right where it is and call that a forest, and we'll put the one that's in the bucket of water, we'll go ahead and put that in a pot of its own. So let's go ahead and finish up this composition. Again, we have high mounds because we have a lot of roots that are sticking up high and growing down into this forest floor. So we need to mound up our dirt a little bit more. We'll put some sphagnum moss around these trees again because that's what we're kind of used to keep that moisture since it's such a shallow pot. So since these won't be stick poles like in a bog, I'll be able to put some rocks in here and probably keep the rocks in here and have an okay design, because this could be on a chunk of land just maybe just off of the bogs. All right, I think I have most of the roots covered where I want to see them. Let's take a peek with you here and see what we think. Yeah. Maybe we think we can The original tree is slanted to the left. The new tree up front, left side, is leaning to the left. The one in the back is kind of straight up. I like that. It's a little tree in the background. The front right is curved. We moved it a little bit to the left there. now is tilted a little bit forward. Got that soil in there. And that back tree has that weird split, but it's growing. All right. I'm liking the forest. I think it's time to put it on one of the benches and do some trimming and get the rocks and sphagnum moss in place and wrap this up. So for the moment, we have my forest back to back. My Minnesota forest number 2 is back there with the dwarf Alberta spruces. We've got some of the critter chopped Siberian elms over there. My new taxuses that have been recreated. A couple pines in the background. But here, this will be a good workspace for me here. The big trouble with these huge forests is look at how big they are, and they are getting a little heavy. They're heavier with the rocks though, so I'll put the rocks on last if I can. I just don't want them to tip too much. This one's starting to lean a little bit too forward here. So I might get that rock first. All right. So that rock is firmly in place. It'll help keep that from tipping forward. So let's do a little bit of trimming on this forest here now. We've got some trees that are tangling with each other and some things that we just want to cut off anyway for the new spring growth. If I were to wire this tree, this would be a good time of the year to wire it, but I don't want to stress the trees out, and plus they're really light in this soil right now and they'll tip over with a gust of wind, so we'll put rocks on again later. But back here this tree is doing well, but this tree right here is getting a little bit too close for comfort. So we're going to cut it right back to here because I have a bud behind it right there. And this guy has 2 buds right there and there. We'll cut that one short right there. And we'll just trim this one up a little bit. And now this doesn't have a tremendous conical shape. I've got this really weird branch growing upwards. It makes a twin trunk, so I either get rid of this and keep the twin trunk look. So we've got 3 branches growing from that one spot. I do want this one off here that grows out in the front. I like the curve of this one branch, but I don't know if we're going to keep that one or not. We'll wait just a few more moments here. Let's go ahead and give this one some room to breathe. Just for the moment. All right. So this one's getting a little big up here and thick. Maybe looks more like an old growth forest with the big top like that. Well, we'll go ahead and cut back so we got more of this conical shape. So we're just going to go ahead and get this thinner on top. This is awful thick right here, so we'll keep going down on that one. Have the branch that splits nicely back here, but we're just going to shorten that up. It's not seen from the camera angle as much, so I'll keep it a little bit longer for now. This is way too long up here. Let's even cut that much off. This one's growing straight up. Tips off. Tips off. Now we got to figure out this mess in the middle here. We're going to keep everything else the way it is for right now, and just let it grow out this summer. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one right here. So this grows at a 90-degree angle, so I just don't like that. I'm going to cut that one off. And let's go ahead and cut this one off. I don't like the 90-degree. So we'll see if this one does anything. We got this growing down below it. We've got a couple of buds back here and here. And we'll use even a bud right there. We'll see what happens down lower. So that became quite a little stick there. We'll get this one back here. Coming at us. Shorten it up. Oops, shorten it up. And shorten them all up. We'll just let that one leaf out, see what it does. We got this back weird one. We'll leave that alone for right now. Not sure if we're going to get anything back in there. We're just making that more compact in the back. That funky, that funky tree in the forest. Now we got the big one. What do we do with the big one? Well, this is certainly coming in our face. So we'll cut that right off. We'll cut this one right there. There we go. We'll shorten up this guy. It's got a secondary tree growing back there. Kind of fun. See what happens with back growth this year. This comes right at us. Kind of hides the scar from the old cut here. This was a chop. Now you see it's growing there. We'll get that one growing the right direction. This one's growing down. This one's growing down and at us. Got a branch growing this way, so we'll cut it right to here for sure. There's another little bud right there and there. Got all these buds back here. It could go. This is growing a really bizarre way. Just cut that off. Cut that shorter. Cut that off. So now I have this interesting looking tree here. We'll see where all the new growth pushes out and see what it looks like, so we know what to cut for next time. I'm gonna cut this one back here off because it's growing the same one as this one coming up front. So as we stand back and take a look at our new forest, we do have this gap right in here, but as this fills out, maybe as this fills out a little bit, and as this grows up taller, we'll have a little bit of an interesting forest. We got this as our main tree. This one's the next one down. This one's a little bit shorter than this guy. We got a chop back here. Let's see what happens here. It might bring this down a little bit more too. This one has ramification up here, but And we'll leave it this length for this year. So we got boom, 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 boom. That works for me. Okay, we need some sphagnum moss and the rocks, and we can call this one a done deal. All right, so we got plenty of water in there. The sphagnum moss is doing its thing. It's going to hold that water real nice. I'll go around here and clean up these edges and tuck some sphagnum moss in the coming days. I don't know how far our rain or snow is out yet. I haven't looked at the radar for a while, but I think we need to call this one a done deal. So we got the rocks just holding those trees up there. The rocks might not stay where they are long term. If I like a couple of them, I'll maybe reposition them. Again, this is just going to be to keep these trees loving life with all the sphagnum moss that they're used to having on there. And every time we water, it'll break down a little bit, and then we'll get some fertilizer in here, and we'll be in good shape. So I can't wait, as always, can't wait to see what's going to happen. So we have the Larch Forest. We have our collected 4 that have been added to the nursery find here. This one hopefully will pop back to life and love it in here in the pot, and hopefully these will do the same. A quick update for today's episode is on the very same tree we started with earlier on. This is the one that was in the bucket that had a clump of ice on the bottom. It was just kind of a round clump of soil and water, iced up soil. I was able to cut it right off, trim the roots a little bit, and we put it into this round patina'd pot, ceramic, and put this slant in it. It was really growing kind of this way. So we'll give it a couple of trims here, and then we'll call this one a done deal as well. So we have this tree growing towards the right. We've got this branch going straight up right there. It's got some interesting movement up here. I'm going to cut out this inside branch right here, and then this one swoops back and goes way over that way, so it crosses. So it's quite a bizarre branch. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that one. We'll leave a little bit of stub for diebacks. We got this branch right now growing right there. Got all kinds of new buds on here. And then we've got some more splitting up top. This one's growing almost straight up. We'll cut that one off. We'll go this one and this one off, tip off, cut that one off actually, shorten it, shorten it, shorten it. Let's go even shorter, shorter. Got this branch right here coming back this way and crossing. Not sure how long we'll keep this. Definitely cut that one right there. Got a big long branch over here. Starts to grow down back behind it, so we'll cut that off. We'll cut that off. Still a little thick up top. I don't know if I want this to start growing up this way more. I think we will cut that one off right there. We'll cut this one back to there. Cut this one to promote growth that direction. And let's just see what it does. All right, we have another one for the benches. Taking a peek at all angles, I'm still very happy with how it turned out, so I think everything is in good shape for right now. The rocks are going to keep it in place. Now, it's not going to dip below freezing for the next couple of nights. There might be one night later this week that it goes below. I'll have to see if I can He-Man this thing back in the garage, or maybe put a blanket around it and help protect some of these tender roots. That's the only concern now, because this is going to be pretty heavy with all these rocks in there. But we'll deal with that in a couple of days. The bonsai dance continues. Hey, that's going to do it. Take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll see you all very, very soon.